grab a drink, light a candle, and let's bitch. All right. So today's episode is a little spooky. Not creepy, just spooky. I wanted to do a little spooky, story reading and all that.
We did fun dating stories.
Yeah.
And we did Valentine's Day and we did weddings. So now we're going to go in the complete opposite direction and we're going to do some spooky stories because we love a good spooky story. But before we get there, in the last episode, we did a wedding review to a wedding pro from a client. And we talked about that we were going to see if we could find the rebuttal from the wedding pro or from the company.
Right.
And I found it. So I wanted to read it to you today.
Okay.
So, are you ready?
I'm ready. Go for it.
All right. I'd like to clarify a few details that have been omitted from your review. The location where the food was served buffet style was in an open-air pavilion on the night when temperatures dipped into the 30s. We wish this detail had been included in your feedback as it provides helpful context for future clients. We do not have a plate warming unit in our inventory, as serving under those conditions have not been something we have encountered, and there was no request to rent a plate warming unit. Regarding the knife in the gut comment, it's important to note that this refers to two services that the bride chose to decline. One was a coffee service and the other place setting service. She was our contracting party who had the final say in what she wants and doesn't want per our contract. Each client has time to review their contract to see if there's any missing services. We didn't have any emails from you or the client that there were any edits that needed during the time given to the review. The morning of the wedding, you called to see why the tables were not being set, and I responded. And then this is the response she actually, I'll read what she actually wrote.
Okay.
We were contracted for standard staff, including setting up food, dismissing tables, and bussing tables, bussing dishes, and butler-style cocktail hour service per the contract. When we bus, we will scrape and rack all dishware. I have confirmed all of this with the client and recorded on the contract. I live by my contracts and follow a procedure to keep the event organized. Throughout a planning process, much is discussed, but ultimately, what is contracted is the tasks we plan and execute. It's going to be a great day. I'm glad to pivot on anything that was not contracted if time allows. According to the contract, we will arrive at 1:30. See you then. And that was the exact text that was sent to the reviewer from, I don't know if it's the owner or the coordinator or whoever's running the business, but That was the response that was sent to them when they were called and were like, why aren't you here?
See, I think that is completely professional.
I also think that's completely professional. Like, hey, there was some sort of miscommunication, but I wasn't hired for this and I wasn't paid for this. This was offered, but they declined.
I am really glad that you found the response because like we said in our last episode, we don't know both sides.
Yeah.
We don't know if the bride had, discussed this already. We don't know if maybe this was already discussed and she just didn't add it on.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found this.
I think it's nice to be able to read both sides, but
yeah,
a little bit more. Additionally, I want to address some concerning behavior to add context to the emotional charge behind the review from you that occurred during the wedding. I understand that planning can be stressful, but I was taken aback by the inappropriate and profane language directed towards me and my team. Despite me politely explaining to you, the bride chose to decline services and giving you the opportunity to add services as time allowed, you aggressively shouted profane words at me and my staff, causing a scene on multiple occurrences. I want to mention my appreciation to my staff. They remained professional and continued their duties despite harassing behavior at the event from the reviewer. Your son and daughter-in-law were lovely, and I truly wish them all the best.
See, that's a shame.
Yeah, I think that was a very appropriate response to the review that we read. I think it's very professional.
Yeah.
I think it was appropriate. And I think that she was a bridezilla. Like, if she's yelling at the staff over something that they didn't do because they weren't contracted to, that was a miscommunication between the bride and the groom and the mother-in-law. The catering company had nothing to do with it.
I feel so bad for that company. Like, they handled themselves really well. The owner did, and I'm guessing the staff did too. But to have somebody, because think about it, all those instances where the mother had been saying, oh, you're causing a scene, you're ruining the event. Well, no, you're causing a scene, you're ruining the event.
Yes.
You're screaming profanity at a staff member who is there to make your daughter-in-law and your son's day special.
Yes.
Like, that's not okay.
No, it's not.
There was one event that I did in the very beginning of my career opening my business, and I ended up leaving. I refunded the bride and groom. I got there. It was a 4-hour drive.
Oh, boy.
And because I was very new, I was like, I'm going to take it. It's an all-day thing anyway, so I might as well. I drove 4 hours there. I was supposed to set up, run the ceremony, run the reception. It was out in this big gazebo area. It was all outdoors. It was summertime. It was supposed to be really beautiful. And they did kind of like a till death do us part theme. So it was very laid back and chill. Like nothing needed to be specific or prepped or dainty. Like it was all just relaxed. Well, when I got there, the mother of the bride grabbed me immediately and was like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. Our contract states that I'm starting at this time." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I apologize." Very sweet, very like, "That's okay. And do you need anything?" I'm like, no. Decorating's supposed to be minimal. And it was. There was like one bin to decorate. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll meet you guys over at the ceremony. You just go relax. I decorated real quick. I ran over and ran the ceremony. I came back while everyone was getting photos. And I don't know if it was a relative, if it was a friend, if it was somebody who was in the business but was there as a guest. But there was a gentleman there who would not stop following me. And I mean, not just like following, I mean like right up against me following me.
That's creepy.
As I'm finishing cleaning up and decorating because the wind was really bad. So I had to kind of tie some things down. And then anytime I would say anything, he'd like yell at me or get in my face. I felt very, very uncomfortable. So I pulled the mom aside and was like, "Look, I'm here on my own. I drove 4 hours. I don't know this gentleman. He will not leave me alone. Can you please ask him to back off?" Well, she had gone over to tell him to back off and he got in my face.
Oh my God.
And was like threatening me, screaming at me, like saying that I was causing a scene. So I went over to the mom. I had already done all my duties. All I had to do was run reception at this point. And I made sure the DJ was comfortable with it. Nothing needs done. It's basically just me assisting you. Do you need me? And he's like, "No, you're good." The DJ felt bad.
Yeah.
The photographer noticed and was like, "Are you okay?" The officiant, it was a husband and wife team. The wife had come over and was like, have you gone to the bathroom yet?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "I'm going to walk with you."
Good.
Because I don't want you going on your own.
That's so nice.
Everybody could see it. So I told the mom, "Look, she still owes me 40%. She can keep it. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
This is not okay. I'm not comfortable. He's not backing off. I'm to the point where if you can't get him to stay away from me, I'm calling the cops. And that's not fair to do that to her on her wedding day. So I'm packing up and I'm leaving." I got in my car. I drove halfway and the mom had called me. So I pulled off, answered the phone, and she was like, "Hey, I need you to come back. The police are here." Okay,
police?
I'm already 2 hours away. Why are the police there? And she's like, "I guess he got into it with another person that was here. And I had told them that you were involved at first and that's why you left." And I was like, "Okay, give them my information, but I'm 2 hours away."
I wouldn't be driving back.
No, the police were right there. And I was like, "Do I need to physically come back or can I just make a statement over the phone? I live 4 hours away. I'm already 2 hours out." "No, we'll just call you tomorrow, make a statement. Totally fine. Did he touch you at all? Do you feel like he threatened your life?" And I was like, "Well, he made some remarks, but he didn't touch me."
Yeah.
So I left before it got to that. But I came home and I told Mike about it and he was pissed.
Yeah, rightfully so.
"Why didn't you leave?" I did leave. He's like, "Why didn't you leave the second it happened?" I'm like, "Because I didn't know if maybe he drank too much already. I didn't know if that point he hadn't yelled at, he was just too close. Did he have, any mental difficulties?" Like I didn't know his situation. I'm not going to judge without knowing. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt and I got very uncomfortable and it turned into a very bad situation that I was able to take myself out of. But you never know. So I am really happy with how this catering staff handled themselves and how she handled herself. But I made it a point in my contract that if anybody started using profanity at me, and I had already warned them once, that is subject for me to leave. So I ended up putting that in my contract. Yeah.
If I'm made to feel uncomfortable by anyone at the wedding or anyone in the wedding party,
Yes.
by a parent, I have the right to leave and I don't have to give you a refund. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the bride, I didn't say anything to her because I wasn't going to ruin her day.
No.
But I guess the mom had explained the situation after the fact. A week later, the bride had called and was like, "Can I please pay you? That's not okay." So she did end up paying me, but it was a situation where I wasn't expecting it. I told the mom to tell her to keep it.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I didn't get to do my full duties in the contract, but I think they were embarrassed. I think it was a family member and this had been coming for a while and I seemed like an easy target.
I feel like in this scenario, the one that we read, I hope that the bride and groom don't have to hear about the terrible catering at their wedding for the rest of life. Because
Yes.
that any chance they get together and anytime people are like, "You're married now. How's married life? How's how was your wedding?
That's the first thing somebody's going to say.
I hope they get to remember all the happy times and not the fact that their mother or mother-in-law was really upset with the catering and was causing a scene. I hope that didn't ruin all of their good memories. And I hope that's not something that they have to hear about for the next 50 years of their life.
I agree. I do.
So anyway, you want to go back to spooky?
I do want to go to spooky. So segue time. So have you ever had your tarot cards read?
I have not. Have you?
I have. So for a while, when I was younger, I had a lady that I would go to twice a year and I would have her read them. And I did that for several years. And I enjoyed going to her. I know that a lot of it is just for entertainment purposes. I never really thought anything of it. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then like something would happen like years later. I'd be like, oh, she mentioned that. Mike would make fun of me. But I stopped going to her just because things happened and whatnot. Well, my day job for a while was in hospice care.
Okay.
Which it takes a very special person to be able to work in hospice care. And that is not me patting myself on the back. I no longer work in hospice care. It is hard.
Yeah, I imagine.
It is very difficult.
I believe that. Hey, if you work in hospice care, kudos to you because I don't think a lot of people could do that.
No, it is very difficult. I humbled myself working there. I loved doing it. I loved my patients. I loved the families. I love being able to be a part of it. But it weighs on you. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. So anytime I hear somebody who said, oh, I've been doing this for years, credit. All the credit in the world. But we were having just a really rough time. It was a really rough season. We had lost a lot of very special individuals. And my boss thought it would be a great idea to have something to kind of relax all of us as employees. He had kind of like a mini party and he hired these two sisters. And they're called, I think it's Twisted Sisters or Mystic Sisters or something like that.
Do we want to keep that in there?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll figure out what their real name is. We'll do a shout out to them. We'll put it in like the comments or whatnot. That way they get credit for it. They do tarot card reading and palm reading and all of that. And they tell you like your aura and everything. And I was like, oh, okay. I've had my tarot card reads before. Nothing like this.
Yeah.
Nothing like this. I still get chills. So one by one, they would take us into a separate room.
Okay.
And we sat down. It was our office. So it was just a regular office space. But we sat down. And they asked, like, have you had your tarot read before? And I said, yes, I have. And they asked, are you a believer? And yes, I am. I am a believer. I believe certain people can do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm a little skeptical still, but yeah, I'd like to believe. And they're like, okay. So they use like a regular deck of cards.
Just a normal playing deck?
A normal playing deck.
Okay.
And they'll go through every single card in the deck.
Okay.
Which is really cool. They have a tarot deck and they'll do like a 5-card spread or whatnot, like your past, your future, your present, all of that. But they also have a regular card deck and they'll sit there and they'll cut the deck. They'll have you cut the deck and shuffle and they'll pick a card and they'll say, this represents you. And they'll explain, your personality and, who they think you are just based off of this card and you and everything in your aura. And then they'll go on and they'll start going over things. Well, one thing that they do that's really special is they bring up past friends and family and acquaintances that have passed. So they basically can not talk to the dead, but can talk to the dead. The way that they explained it is they get pieces of what that person represented towards you. So they say that every person that has touched you in your life or has touched your soul becomes a part of you when they pass. So like you carry them around.
That's so sweet.
Which is very sweet. It's very sweet. So when I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's got to be a lot of people around me that like, this is going to be a big busload, just honk the horn and wait. So, but they were like, you have a couple people around you, like we can see them. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. So I'm like, all right. So normally, because I'm semi-skeptical, I don't give names. I don't answer things to lead them into another answer or question. Like I'm very persistent on how I answer their questions. Okay. So I told them, I'm like, I'll answer anything. I'll give you things like whatever you need, but I'm going to be skeptical about it. And they were like, okay. So they were going through and they said, I see 2 grandmothers that have passed. And I said, okay, well, I've only had one grandma pass. My yaya's still with us. So the only grandma that I had pass is my mom's mom. All right. And she goes, well, they're not really your grandma. Oh, okay. She goes, they're related to you, kind of. And I'm like, all right.
What do you mean, kind of?
Yeah. And she goes, and they both have the same name. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, same name? I don't know. She goes, it's a flower. Now, everybody who's listening,
Fern.
I know when you think of somebody old, you think of like a fern or a rose or something along those lines. Rose is the correct answer, but here's the situation. My great grandmother
Okay.
is Rosalia's.
Do you want the last name in there?
We can cut it out,
Okay.
but very Greek, very old, and she's my great grandma, and she passed before I was born.
Okay.
And then the other person who has the name Rose is my sister's grandma. Now, my sister and I are only half siblings from my dad's first marriage. So her grandma is not my grandma,
Yeah.
but she treated me.
She treated you like your
a granddaughter anytime I was there.
Yeah. That's so sweet.
And I didn't understand where she's like, they share a name. And I'm like, who shares a name in my family? It took me a while, halfway through the tarot reading, to be like, oh my God, I know who you were talking about. And this was around the time that I had started IUI treatment to go into IVF treatment to try to get pregnant. And I hadn't told anybody.
Okay.
Like, I told people I was going to like a fertility clinic, but I hadn't told anybody that I was getting treatment done.
Yeah.
And she had told me, well, they're both very religious. And yup, they were. They were both very religious. And I see them praying, but they're not praying to God. And oh boy, is this the part where she tells me I'm related to witches? Because A, that's cool. And B, I don't need to be told that this way. But
That would be cool, though.
she said, no. She goes, they're both praying to the goddess of fertility.
Aww.
And I'm like, shut up. I started bawling. You have got to be kidding me right now. She's like, no, are you having trouble getting pregnant? Yeah, you'll be pregnant within the year.
Were you?
Yeah, okay, sure. Yup.
Brycelyn.
This was late December, early January of 2024.
Oh my God.
I got pregnant in October.
It worked. You better be thinking of your grandma's. Holy shit.
I know. But I was just like, oh my God. So then she tells me, she goes, did either of them have issues? And I said, well, my great grandmother, Rosalia, she had plenty of children. Plenty of children.
All the kids.
She had 6 or 7.
Holy shit.
So she didn't have any issues, but she really didn't. She died when they were young. So she didn't really get to raise them.
Yeah.
I said, but my sister's grandma, Rose, couldn't have kids. So she adopted all of her kids. So she had 3 or 4 children, then she adopted them.
Aw.
So I'm like, it's kind of both sides of the scale. And they were both there trying to balance it out for me. So it was amazing. So that one, like the second, that's how they started my
Insane.
reading.
I'd be bawling.
Give you like an hour, but I was bawling my eyes out. That's how they started. So we're only like 20 minutes into this reading and this already happens. I was like, how much more could they possibly? Because I had already gone to that other reader for years who was like, oh, you're going to get pregnant within 6 months. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. And at this point, I had 1 round of IUI already and it didn't work. So this was December or January going into 24. And by April, I was so devastated. We need to take a break. I can't keep doing this. It's messing with my body. We've been trying for years. Let's just take a break. And then by October, I was pregnant without even trying.
Damn.
So yeah. So it was a little scary. Obviously I didn't get to see that come to fruition till October, but she was like, so there are some people around you. And oh God. Okay. You lost your grandfather. And I bawled even more because my grandpa he was the closest person I had in my family. We were best friends. Yeah. You keep something in your car for him. And I was like, yeah, I do. And she was just like, okay. She's like, keep that there. Don't get rid of it. Okay. And then she was talking about how
Did he die before or after your car accident?
he died before, and we'll talk about the car accident episode. We'll do that next.
Okay.
Like next episode, I will talk all about that because that's a whole backstory that kind of ties into my grandpa.
Okay.
But he had passed beforehand.
Okay.
And the piece that I kept in my car that I believe is part of him that helped save us that day, I keep, and it goes in every car I've been in.
Oh, you need to keep that. Yeah, you have to keep that forever.
But she had told me the second Mike and I found out that we were having a girl, I bawled because what she had told me was, and we always joke, everybody keeps having boys in the family. We haven't had a girl since my cousin, and she's 20 now. Everybody's had boys. So my pap, before he passed, always joked I was his little girl and I was going to give him the next little girl in the family. Like we always joked about it. And she had said, well, he's standing here and did he know the 2 Roses? And I said, he married Rosalia's daughter. So that's his mother-in-law. And they keep whispering to him and he keeps looking at you and looking at your belly and keeps saying it's going to be a girl. Okay. All right. that's so general. Okay. But knowing,
Yeah, what you
like
knew.
from her, that's general. For me, okay. So then when Mike and I were having our 30-week ultrasound and they were like, oh, it's a girl, I bawled. You've got to be kidding me. That's two things right there that they had already said in this like 45-minute thing or 30-minute thing telling me that, you know, everything that's happening. But what really got me, those got me. But what really got me was she had said, there's one other gentleman here and he's kind of off in the corner and he doesn't want to like come too close. He wants you to know he's here, but he kind of wants to watch you from afar. Okay. She goes, that tells me that he wasn't related to you.
Okay.
All right. And she goes, he's wearing a cowboy hat. Yep. Do you know who that is? And I said, absolutely. I said, but I don't want to give you any more details. I want you to tell me. She's like, well, he's dressed like a full-on cowboy. And I was like, okay. She goes, and he's drinking from a flask. And I said, mm-hmm. And she's like, he's very vivid. And I said, okay. She's like, usually when someone comes through more vivid, it means that they've been here before. And where I was working was where Mike's path had passed.
Wait, do that again?
Like where I was working, that's where he had passed.
Oh, so he was from your
hospice.
work.
Mm-hmm. But it's Mike's pap. So he had passed before I started working there.
Oh.
He was a full-on cowboy in Arizona. That was literally what he did.
Oh, that's cool. And then he lived there and then you ended up working there later.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So they had asked that, did he pass here? And I said, yeah. And they were like, that's why he's coming through pretty vivid. Okay. How was he related to you? And I said, by marriage. And she's like, okay. And then she started laughing and she's like, he's a flirt. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He flirted with everybody. And she was just like, he keeps tipping his flask at you. And I was just like, yeah. She goes, what's that mean? And well, when he was here and he was passing, the only thing he wanted was a shot of tequila. So
I see where Mike gets it.
Mike and I brought in contraband for him to have a sip of tequila.
That's hilarious.
Damn, these girls, man, they got it.
Yeah.
Like they're describing how people look. I didn't talk about it earlier, but they literally described how both grandmas appeared. They described how my pap looked. My pap had a very distinct look. He wore the same thing all the time, no matter the weather. Mm-hmm. He always had like these black Velcro shoes with shorts and a wife beater and a zip up jacket and a fishing hat. He always. And she described how each person looked.
Crazy.
This is creepy.
Yeah.
It's creepy because I didn't bring any photos. It wasn't my office we were in. It was a plain office. The only photo I had on my desk was me and Mike's wedding photo. I had no photos. I had nothing. I don't really post about stuff like that on my social media. So even if they had looked me up, you weren't getting it from social media. I have no way of proving that they debunking what they did. Mm-hmm. But I was like, this is insane. So what I did was they were so great. I'm going to hire them for my mom's birthday.
Okay.
So my mom's birthday was in April.
This year.
No, it was that same year. Okay. So that was like December or January. I hired them for that April. So this is still before I'm pregnant. Okay. So I hired them in April. They did house calls. So they came to my parents' house and they did just a general reading of everybody. And then I had told them, because they had already done the detailed one for me, that I didn't need to get another detailed one. They can just do my mom or my sister or my dad or whomever wants one. Well, my dad still won't tell me what they said. He's very quiet about it. So I don't know if any of it's true or if it freaked him out.
It probably freaked him out.
Yeah. She was talking to my mom and she was like, you did not have a good relationship with your parents. No, I did not. And she didn't. But my mom's very much like me where I believe, but I'm skeptical. So I don't know. And they had brought up something in her childhood. I don't even know what it was, but you could see the blood drain from her face. There is no way they knew that. Yeah. Like it was insane. And then my sister, so they were talking to my sister and they were going over everything. And you still have one good love story in you. Don't you worry. You still have one more coming for you. And my sister's like, yeah, right. I'm not looking for love. I'm finally divorced. I'm on my own. I'm good. I'm happy. I have my son. That's all I need. Yeah. We're like, no, you've got one more in you. It's all right. And lo and behold, she's dating somebody now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, haha. Yeah, they're dating, not dating. I don't know. But she's happy and that's all that matters. So I told her the other day when I was thinking about this post, I was like, hey, you remember when she told you still had that and now you're dating somebody? And she's like, no, that's not what that means. I'm like, yes, that is exactly what that means. She called you out. Mm-hmm. She called you out, which if I come to think of it, they started talking before the end of that year, before the end of 2024.
Wow.
So yeah, they were
on point.
Yeah, they were on point. So this was April. So this was right before Mike and I went on our mini vacation. So I had already decided I'm going to stop treatment. I'm just going to see what happens. But because they came to the house, they brought like some ghost equipment.
Ooh.
Now I'm very skeptical of ghost equipment, but they had brought some and they were like, here, do whatever you want. Here's how you use it. Go for it. My parents' house is haunted. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe it. I seen things when I was younger. I feel things. You can hear things all the time. I know my parents' house is haunted. It is a very old mining house.
Okay.
But there were times where you could hear, and this sounds so scary and creepy. But when I was younger, you could hear a little girl crying or playing or, singing. Like you could hear things, especially when I was little, because I had all these toys and I had dolls.
And she was playing with them.
Mm-hmm. So there were times where you could hear her crying. Unless I kept a certain baby doll in the closet, then she was fine. So
she lived in
I never
your
took it out of the closet. I think so.
I don't know how I would feel about that.
I mean, nobody ever hurt us.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened that was bad. The most that you would hear would be heavy foot stomps up and down the stairs, or sometimes my parents' bedroom door would open and close on its own, or nothing that would hurt you or scare you. Just stuff that would be like, oh, okay, that wasn't us. There was one time I had a friend spend the night. I'm not friends with her anymore, but we would sleep on the couch because like when your friend sleeps over, that's what you do. You slumber party. She would sleep on the couch and she would lose her socks every time she'd spend the night.
Someone would take her socks?
They would, yeah, like off of her. We always joke, maybe you're kicking them off in the middle of the night. She's like, no, I'm not.
Where did they go though?
Like, okay.
Could you find them or they were gone?
No, they were gone. We looked in the couch. We moved the couches. They were gone.
Damn.
So I don't know. Somebody really liked her socks.
I have the spookies now. I'm spooked. I don't want that.
Oh, don't be spooked. It's not bad.
Yeah.
You've been to my parents' house.
Yeah, that's true. I have. It's always fine. They must like me.
Do you have any ghost stories?
Well, I have a recent story. I don't know if it's a ghost story.
Okay.
But it's really spooky to us recently. So I don't know if I've told you this, but we have not been sleeping well. Have I told you this?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's fine. But 2 or 3 weeks ago, Anthony, there was one night he just couldn't sleep. He's like, I don't know what my problem is. I'm just not tired. I can't sleep. The next night, I wake up for work between 4:45 and 5:15 every day, depending on, some days I start at 6, some days I start at 6:30. So depending on what time I have to be to work is what time I wake up. And I fall asleep every night at 10:30, like clockwork. I can't stay up past then. Like, I'm just exhausted. And it was 1:30, I was still awake. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm going downstairs to the couch. Maybe the bed isn't comfortable. Maybe it's too hot up here. I'm going to go downstairs, lay on the couch, because it's very nice to sleep on. I have a big fluffy blanket down there. And I fell asleep. Next night, couldn't sleep. Went downstairs to the couch, fell asleep fine. The next week, there was 2 days, Anthony couldn't sleep. 2 days, I couldn't sleep. Always on separate nights. Never on the same night where we could like hang out. It's always on separate nights. So I'm in bed and it is either 2:38 or 3:28. I can't remember which one. I wake up because I hear Bandit crying. I have 2 cats. Their names are Smokey and Bandit. Bandit has anxiety, especially separation anxiety, where if he can't find you, he cries because he's scared because he's alone. Mm-hmm. And I hear him crying in, where our bedroom is and how we have that little living room off to the side. I hear him out there crying. Yeah. And I'm like, we're in here. Come here. I'm in here. It's okay. And the crying stops. Okay. Both the cats are laying on me. Bandit's in between my legs. Smokey's on my chest. And I was just like, all right. I could not sleep after that. I'm awake. I'm freaked out. I sat on my phone for 2 hours and I eventually fell back asleep. But I was freaked out. I didn't wake Anthony up.
You have a ghost kitty. Oh.
Hold on. So we just had that snowstorm. It was the day of the snowstorm because I woke up early because I'm selling my wedding stuff on Facebook and I had to meet a lady in the next town over.
Yeah.
So I was up early and I was up getting ready, but I was downstairs and Anthony said he heard me say, "Who's in the garage?" And he's like, I woke up. What do you mean who's in the garage? And you weren't in there. So we have cameras in the garage. So he got up, he looked at the camera. There's no one in the garage. I go back upstairs and he's like, why were you asking me who was in the garage? What are you talking about? He's like, I heard you say, who's in the garage? I don't know what you're talking about. So those are our two spooky stories, because then he said, I also heard knocking on the walls the other day. What do you mean you heard knocking on the walls? Yeah, I swear you weren't home. I was home alone. Someone's living. We have like an attic space. Someone's living in the attic space. You need to check it out. Brandy. He works from home. He's like, I am home 100% of the time. And he's like, if I'm not home, you are home. There's no one living in the house. Okay, I guess you're right. But it's spooky. I'm spooked out. I have the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, that part spooked me a little bit.
So, and then I said, after he told me that, I was like, you're never going to believe this, but I heard the cat meowing, and both the cats were laying on me, sound asleep. Both of them sound asleep laying on me. If it wasn't for the fact that I could feel both of them, I wouldn't have thought anything of it, but I could feel both of them. I don't know. That's my spooky story. Your turn.
It went from being really cute to having a ghost kitty who is kept company by your two cats and found a home afterwards. So sweet. And then like, no, Anthony gets random voices talking to him and knocks on the wall. I'm like, yeah, that's creepy.
And I guess maybe it's lack of sleep. Maybe our insomnia is doing something to us where we're hearing noises and waking up. Maybe that's a thing and that's what's happening. But I don't know. I heard the cat. I know I heard the cat crying and he was asleep on me. It was in the next room. It's not like I heard him in that room. It was in the next room. And as soon as I went, we're in here.
It could be
stopped.
Like lucid dreaming. He's thinking he's having a conversation with you in his dream and he thinks he hears it.
Maybe.
Because I'm not going to lie, like having a baby now, there are times where I'll wake up and be like, she's screaming. And I'll have to pull up the monitor and be like, she's dead asleep. She's not screaming.
Maybe I am. Maybe that's what this is. I don't know. It's been freaking me the fuck out. That's all I have to say. I'm hoping it's not happening anymore. I don't want it to happen anymore.
Well, I'll call the sisters. We'll get them to come to your house and do like an exorcism or something. Yeah. We'll bless the house. Cool. It'll be fine.
You're going to come here and they're going to come here. And then they can tell me what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah, they can bless the house. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Speaking of ghost stories, so I have one for you.
Okay.
This is from Reddit by Zealous Ideal I 836. It's actually 2 for 1. The second one's like really short. All right. So he says, I moved around a lot as a kid. We were the kind of family that would have boxes that always go unopened and undisturbed between moves. My dad was a good guy, but had issue with authority. So he usually had issues keeping a stable job for more than a year or so. When the lease was up, we'd move closer to his new job. Anyways, during one of these moves, my dad found a steal next to his new job. It was an old 2-bed, 1-bath house with a detached garage. I want to say it was around $300 a month for rent. This was in 2003. Apparently, it was in a rough part of town. The landlord told us, I won't go into the specifics, but I am required to tell you that someone had passed away in this house within the last 5 years. My dad saw a great deal and shrugged it off.
Pause. I need to know why they died. Did they get murdered or was it natural causes? I need to know that information before I decide whether or not to move in. Because if they were murdered, I'm not living there because someone can break in and kill me. Not happening. Sorry.
There's a big difference between natural causes and being, cut up into little pieces. And I told Mike that. And he's like, well, what are the odds of it happening again? No. That's what happened. That's what the people in the horror movie say right before they move in and then are hacked into little pieces. No, we don't take chances.
Nope. That's also why your rent was so cheap. That's why it was such a steal.
Yes.
Because someone had died there. And probably when he says I won't get into specifics, I need you to get into specifics. I need to know.
Yes, I need the specifics. All right. So we moved in soon after and things started very quickly. There were noises in the house all the time. It was like we had other people living there.
You did.
It would generally be noises that you'd expect when other people were around. Things like drawers opening and closing, doors swinging around on their own, water turning on in the bathroom and then back off. Nothing malicious was happening, so we just lived with it. Another weird quirk about the house was that the front door had a keyhole on both sides, so you could not leave the locked house unless you had the keys. That is creepy. That's creepy.
Yeah, that's weird.
You can probably guess where this is going, but not a week or so after we moved in, we lost the keys.
Oh no.
Boxes still littered the house and we were still in unpacking hell. So my dad, obviously stressed from the whole situation, started getting loud about the keys. He accused me of stealing them. He was cursing and being a general pain. Then out of nowhere, we hear the keys hit the floor in the living room right in front of the couch, right onto the floor. He picks them up, tries to rationalize what just happened, says, fuck it, and leaves the house for work. Over the next few months, the stupid keys are the center of the activity. My dad would put them in a glass bowl on top of our tube TV every day after work, and somehow they would be moved by the morning. My favorite spot by far was when we found them in a sealed box of pots and pans that we needed to unpack.
They're just playing jokes at this point.
It had those little handle holes on the side of the box, and it's like someone just shoved them into the hole out of spite. We all got a good laugh out of that one. I'm sorry, a good laugh? At this point, I'd be like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
We are leaving. It's one thing if they're generally nice and they don't have any issues with you. It's another when they're full on messing with you. They know they're picking on you.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
It's okay to pick, but just be nice about it. You know, it's okay to pick on me a little bit, but have fun with it and don't scare me. Just have some fun.
Right. Ugh. Right now, you're probably like, okay, what's spine chilling about some noises and some keys moving around? Here you go. The worst thing that happened fairly frequently was the stomping. Most nights around 2 to 3 a.m., there would be very heavy footsteps pacing in the hallway outside of our bedrooms. I confirmed with my dad when I was older that yes, it kind of freaked him out too. We had been living in this place for about 8 months, and at this point, I was probably around 8 years old. I heard the stomping one night and I just couldn't take it. I screamed out into the hallway, "Stop stomping around, I need to sleep, god damn it." 15 seconds of silence was abruptly interrupted by what sounded like a bull running full speed to my room. Then my door had 3 very aggressive slamming knocks on after another.
I would leave.
It was so loud, my dad woke up and came to check on me. My stomach started to turn and I suddenly felt like I had to use the toilet. I was frozen in bed, and when I heard my dad call out to me, "You okay, buddy?" from his bedroom, I mustered up the courage to head out to the hallway. As I got up, I could tell something wasn't right. I was shaking like a leaf and my bowels were trying to evaluate while I was walking. I ran as fast as I could to the toilet, but it did not help. There was a trail about halfway between my bedroom and the toilet. My poor dad, worried about my safety, followed me into the bathroom to figure out what the hell just happened. I explained everything, crying on the toilet, making a mess of myself and the house. I was embarrassed and terrified. After this, my dad told me, "If you ever feel uncomfortable, you can come sleep in my room. Nothing can bug you when I'm around."
Sure.
The final straw came a week later. A week later, that poor 8-year-old.
Yeah.
After that, I'd be terrified.
I'd be like, I need to go stay at grandma's house.
Right? My dad had been dating a girl for over a year, and she had been staying with us more and more. One of the nights she stayed over, they had a really minor fight right before bed. I think it was about cleaning or chores. Anyways, they both went to bed grumpy about it. Right around that magic 2 to 3 a.m. mark, his girlfriend got yanked out of bed by one of her ankles and got dragged out of the bedroom and down the hallway. By her account, she woke up after she was on the floor and felt someone pulling on her leg, and it took her a while to realize exactly what was happening. She shrieked, and whatever it was let go. She ran back into the bedroom, turned the lights on, and explained the whole thing to my dad. He sent me off to my aunt's house and stayed in the house alone for a few more months while looking for another place to go. Figured it would be safer without me there. During the packing and moving of the house, my dad had some friends swing by to keep him company while he packed. Almost everyone who came by to help mentioned that they saw a small white dog walking around when they entered the house. Yeah, that place was haunted AF. I still think about it from time to time. Wonder if the people who live there now deal with the same stuff or if it's all calmed down. No. That's insane.
I couldn't. There's no way. I would have to leave. And I would tell the landlord that, be like, I need to leave. I'm breaking my lease right now. You should have told me this was going on. We should have gotten into the specifics.
Yep.
No, I need to know.
This says it's a bonus extra DLC story.
Okay.
My dad's girlfriend had brought a yoga ball to the house, and as a rambunctious 8-year-old, I wanted to play with it all the time. She tells me I can play with it, but I have to be careful, so we lightly toss it back and forth down this hallway. After a minute or two, I toss the ball and it freezes mid-air before it makes it to her and comes right back to me. She was mortified. I was too young to realize what happened, and she didn't want to freak out her boyfriend's 8-year-old son. So she quickly just said she didn't want to play with it anymore, and we went and did something else. That's crazy. It sounds like they hated the girlfriend.
Yeah. I don't think they liked her. I wonder if they ended up getting married. What happened to her?
I can tell you one thing. She never went back to that house.
Yeah. If I was dating someone and I went to their... Oh, I have another story after this. If I was dating someone and I went to their house and that happened, I would never go back to their house. And if they didn't move, I would break up with them, I think. I'd be like, I can't come see you here. So either you have to come over to my house all the time or we're done. That's all there is to it. I won't be back here. But
before you tell your story, my parents, I already told you that their house is haunted. There was, after the car accident, they had to remodel the house for my brother. And we found, years prior to that, we found a doll. And it's like an antique looking, like angel doll, almost like what would go on top of a Christmas tree.
I'm already out.
I already told my dad, I'm like, we don't get rid of it. We don't throw it away. You respect that. Just put it away. Put it somewhere away from all of us. So my dad always kept it up in like this china cupboard. Well, when the remodel was happening, it disappeared. And I was like, oh no, something bad's going to happen. One of the people that were remodeling the house said, oh, well, we found it in like the rubble. So we just threw it in the garbage bag. So it's gone. And I'm sitting here. I was freaking out because I was the only one living at the house at the time. And I'm like, something's going to happen. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't move. Like, this is really bad. My dad came home. Like, they had moved back in. They had come home and they found it on top of the fridge, just sitting there like any other day. And I'm like, it was not there, Dad. It was gone. It was not in the cupboard anymore. I actually talked to people about it. They said that they threw it in the rubble bins. Like, it was gone. Well, it's back now. So I refuse to touch it.
Yeah, I would too.
Because I think it's haunted. Yeah. But they still have it. They kept it. It's in the kitchen. It's up above the fridge. I think it's creepy. But yeah, it had gotten thrown away like several times, I think. And it's still there. It came back. So.
Oh, God.
So what's yours?
So when Anthony and I first started dating, the house that he lived in. Maybe I should preface this with another story. So Anthony's best friend, Ethan, and Anthony were roommates in college. Ethan's also my best friend. He was our best man in our wedding. He's great. He also did the music for our trailer. So if you guys listen to our trailer, he's the one that put the music behind that because he does music for a living and it was really nice to him. So we want to give him credit for that.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So before we started dating and they lived at that house, Anthony lived there by himself for a little while. Ethan was in between places to live, I think. So he just kind of like chilled in the basement for a little while. And he just had a couch down there and he slept in the basement. And while he was down there, he just kept having dreams about the old man in the house. Okay. Nothing ever came from that. He just had dreams about the old man in the house. So fast forward, I don't know, a couple years, I'm spending the night at Anthony's house and I go to bed. And when I go to bed, I have to close the door because if the door is open, and it's not like this anymore because we have the cats and we have to leave the door open or they scratch it and it wakes me up.
Right.
I used to always sleep with the door closed. And if the door opened, I would wake up. I don't know why, but I sleep with the door closed. And when it opens, I wake up for whatever reason. I remember closing the door. We go to bed and we wake up and I don't know what time it is. But when I woke up, I just had the feeling that something was wrong. Something is off. Something's not right. Something's wrong. I roll over and Anthony's laying on his side of the bed on his phone. All right, this is weird. And I lay there for a little bit. I didn't hear anything. And I said, hey, is everything all right? And he goes, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And he says, I had a dream that we were stuck. I don't know if we were in the house, if we were in a different house, or if we were like in a tower somewhere. We were stuck and the door wouldn't open. I couldn't get the door to open. The only way out was through the door. And I don't remember if he said it was on fire, but he was like, something was wrong. We needed out of the room and I couldn't get the door open. And the only other way out was to jump out the window. So he's like, I had to get the door open. In the dream, I was trying so hard to get the door open. And then all of a sudden I woke up. I just got this weird feeling and I woke up. I don't know what's going on, but I feel really weird. And I put my glasses on, I look, and our bedroom door's open. He lived in an old house, but the doors in that house, you had to pull them to open them. They were tight.
Right.
So he's like, I don't know how the door opened because I remember locking it. I know I locked the door. I was like, someone's in the house. Someone has to be in the house. And he's him, so there's motion sensors all over his house.
Right.
I checked all the motion sensors. The only ones that are on are the ones next to the door in the bedroom. I didn't move from the bed. I don't know how the door opened. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't know if I was so concerned about the door not opening that I somehow in my mind like willed the door to open, but the door opened. I woke up when the door opened. And he woke up because he felt like something was wrong. And then I was like, I feel him thinking that something's wrong.
That's crazy.
I
wonder if you legitimately thought something was wrong or if you just felt him.
I just felt it.
His energy, like telling you something's wrong.
I felt him. I woke up. I can feel him freaking out about something. And I don't know why. And it was out of a dead sleep. I was asleep and then all of a sudden I was like, something's going on. Something's wrong. Something's not right. Something's going on. And the door was open. But the door, I know I closed it and we always locked it because it was an old house. And like he had a deadbolt on both of his doors, but like kind of
Yeah.
in a sketchy neighborhood. So we always, like,
Ooh.
if we were going in his office, we locked the office door. If we closed the door, if we were going to bed, we locked the bedroom door. We always had locks in between us just because it wasn't the safest neighborhood and we needed that extra security.
Yeah.
But yeah, the door was definitely closed. The door was definitely locked and it definitely opened by itself.
Mm.
It freaked me out. And after that, I didn't like to be in his house by myself. I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be here alone. I don't know what's going on. And I don't think anything there would have hurt me because if it wanted to, it had 4 years to do so before we moved out.
Right.
But it was too creepy. It was way too creepy.
Oh, that's scary.
Mhm.
Oh, there's the only other thing that I can think of that's kind of creepy that would fit this story, these stories, I should say. When Mike and I bought our house and we moved in,
I remember this.
we have an attic, and in our attic there was an urn,
Yeah.
a body, someone in an urn, and Mike and our good friend that was there, they were like, "What should we do with it?" And I'm like, "Does it have the person's details on it? Can we return it to a family member?" Like the next door neighbors that we had at the time, they were so sweet. They were the sweetest old couple we ever had. They kind of adopted us as their grandchildren. Like I loved living next door to them.
Mhm.
And before they passed, they were selling this house and their house. So they owned both. So they sold us this house. So we knew who the previous owners were, but we didn't know who they had rented to before us.
Mhm.
We went over to them and we were like, "Hey, we were in the attic and we found this. We don't know who we could give it to because we don't want to keep it, but we don't want to be disrespectful because it is literally a body." So they did find who it belonged to or who the like next of kin would be. So we did give it to who it needed to go to. But then Mike had said, "Oh, there is a old wedding dress and there is
I didn't know that.
it's like a shrine." Yeah. He's like, "It's like a shrine up there. What should we do?" And I was like, "We're just going to give her everything. And whatever doesn't belong to her, she can deal with it. We are not throwing anything away because it's disrespectful and it brings bad juju.
Yeah.
So we're going to handle it accordingly." But there was a time where because she didn't live here. So we had to wait for when she came to visit from Florida to give it to her. And there was a good 6 months between when we moved in and found that to when she actually came and got it, that it went missing for a while.
What do you mean it went missing?
The urn went missing.
In your house?
Yes, because he never brought it down from the attic. He never moved it. He literally just left it. He took a picture of it and it had the little plaque on the side with the person's name and like date of birth and date of passing. And that's how we gave it to our next door neighbor. And they knew who to give it to. So we never really touched it. We never moved it. But he went up there a couple times between those 6 months because we were putting things in the attic. And he's like, "It's gone. Did you touch it?" And I'm like, first off, I'm not getting in the attic. Second off, why would I touch it if I told you not to touch it? So no, I don't know where it is. And he's like, "It is missing. The urn is missing."
Nope.
I'm lucky that when she came back, we were able to give it to her. But there was a good several months where it took a trip on its own and I don't know where it went.
Maybe they just felt like going on vacation.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
They wanted to spread their ashes around a little bit of everywhere.
I hope not in the house.
No, but Italy. Decided to go to Italy, maybe Spain.
Italy.
Yeah. I do have one more weird occurrence if you have time. Do you have time?
Yeah, I do have time.
Okay. So I will ask permission to tell the story, and if not, I'll take it out.
Okay.
But I have a brother. He's 3 years older than me. And when he was born, I think it was when he was born. It was either when he was born at the hospital or like a little bit after. For whatever reason, I think it was at the hospital. Someone went up to my mom, and it was her first kid. She was a first-time mom. And she said, "Your kid is going to be able to talk to the dead." And she's like, "Huh? Come again?" And this lady told her that he has something to do with his eyes. It's like green eyes with a yellow ring around them, or like some sort of yellow somewhere in his eyes. And because he has those eyes, he's going to be able to talk to the dead. Flashback to the house my parents bought, the house I grew up in, had a cemetery in the backyard. Small cemetery, family owned. My dad mows the grass there. There's, I don't know, 8 tombstones, maybe. But there's more graves there because you can see like where the land has sunk in. And it's old. There's stuff from the Civil War. It's all very old.
Nope. I love you, but nope, I would not.
It's a family cemetery. We used to go up there and play. We used to like plant flowers up there. The weirdest thing about it is it's a family cemetery. And I guess there's multiple around. And every once in a while, these people would show up to our house to go pay their respects, but we wouldn't know. So there was one time I was in high school, I was home alone, I was in my pool in the back, right next to the cemetery. And I see all these cars coming down my driveway, 15 cars coming down the driveway. And we live in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. And I was concerned because I was home alone. So I went inside, I locked all the doors, I shut all the lights off so no one knew that it was there. And my parents always said, if someone's trying to get in the house, go out to the dog's pen because the dog will protect you. Cool. So I had a plan.
Right.
They tried to get in the house, but there are so many people. How am I going to outrun all these people to get to the dog? So I'm sitting, I used to hide in my mom's bathroom. I was hiding in my mom's bathroom. I'm looking out the window. And 30 to 50 people, I'm going to say, are going back to the cemetery to pay their respects. And then they come and they leave an envelope on our door and they give my dad a $100 check for mowing the grass. And this happens like once every 5 years.
I mean, that's sweet that they're still paying their respects.
Yeah, it is. It's very sweet. But so my parents' house has a cemetery in the backyard. It also used to be a campground to make it just a little bit more creepy. My brother has eyes where he should be able to talk to the dead. So my brother, when he was little, my parents used to tell him the story. He used to go spend the night in the cemetery to try to see if he could talk to someone. Could never do it. He's like, I want to be able to talk to the dead people. He never got anything. My brother, his profession, he's a funeral director. Uh-huh.
I literally was sitting here thinking, I know what your brother does. Wait a minute. Oh my God. That's so good. That's so good.
He may talk to the dead people, but they don't talk back. Maybe he does talk to them. I'll ask. I'll find out. Maybe while he's embalming them, he just does like a little chit chat.
I've only really gotten to like talk to your brother a couple times. But knowing this about him, 100% I could see him sleeping in a graveyard to try to talk to the dead.
Oh yeah, he would. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Oh my God, that's funny.
So yeah, that's my little...
That's good. Way to take the creepy and make it funny.
Honestly, hilarious. I like to tell everyone that story. I will ask before I tell the world to make sure it's okay. But
I hope he says yes, because it's really good.
Yeah, he's very excited. I've been sending him some little clips of stuff, and I sent him our like intro and outro. He helped me. I like did something to the outro and I couldn't figure it out, and he helped me like figure it because it made me sound like I was underwater. But he helped me fix it. He was like, something there is not right, and you need to figure that out. I was like, all right. So I sent him a bunch of them, and I'm like, which one sounds better? And he helped me fix it. But I figured it out.
I let my mom listen to the first one so far, and she really loved it. So I might venture out and let my sister listen to a couple or have Mike listen. I don't know. He asked me if he could, but I'm nervous he's going to make fun.
I'm not letting Anthony listen.
I told him, I said, I will see how I feel about it. And then if I do want you to listen, I'll let you listen. But other than that, I don't know if I will, because I know he's supportive. He's told me he's excited that we're doing this, but I also feel like once he sits and listens, he's just going to start giggling. And I don't want to see his face when he does that because it's going to make me feel discouraged.
We don't want negative feedback before it even starts releasing. So that's also, my mom wants to listen really bad. And I've told her I've scheduled the trailer to release. I've scheduled the first episode. I have scheduled the next 2. However, I was listening to the 3rd episode today while I was at work. I got to re-edit it. I don't like it. I'm starting over. Because I was telling a story and I didn't realize how many filler words that I use. So I'm going to work on that in 2026. That's my goal, is to use less filler words because I couldn't take it. I was listening it back and I was annoyed by myself. So I'm fixing it. I'm taking them all out. And I did today when I got home from work. I got the first 18 minutes re-edited and I was like, all right, I'm feeling a little better about this. It was our bullshit stories at the beginning where we were super excited. We used all the filler words, but the rest of it's fine. But in the beginning, this is real rough. It is kind of fun to edit. And I did find some of the videos that I've used where if you do want to start editing, if you want tutorials, I'll save them in the YouTube that's on the Tell the Babe. If you want to send us an email, send it to tellthebabes@gmail.com.
Yes, please
because we want to hear all of your spooky stories.
Yes.
And we will for sure read them. If a whole bunch of you could send us spooky ghost stories, we could have a full episode of your spooky ghost stories. And that would be so much fun.
We'll just sit here, read them, and talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that would be amazing. Or you could send us a message on Instagram at The Bitching Babes and follow us on there. The more people who follow us, the more people we reach, the more episodes we can make.
Yes.
So we're doing
it. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is your weekly reminder. You're not crazy. Everyone else is.
That is all for today. So go drink some water. And remember, it's not gossip, it's storytelling. So we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Bitching Babes. This is your friendly reminder to blow out your candle and hydrate responsibly. We'll see you next time.